Transparency to me is ensuring that parents are included at the table and in the conversation. And sometimes that doesn't happen, which is understandable. Having been in the classroom, you get busy with your students, you get busy with your day, you try to include the parents, but a lot of times the parents are being left out of the big picture. And really, parents need to know what's happening in the classroom.
And as long with transparency, I think people are aware of the survey that the St. Joe petition gatherers were showing other parents, and parents had their kids participate, and they were shocked about the questions that were being asked. A lot of them I find were inappropriate and probably were more favorable to be asked in a doctor's office.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was quite shocked to read the questions that were given to ninth graders. And the other thing that I thought was interesting on that too is that districts could opt out of that altogether. We had districts in our county that the school board said, we do not believe these are appropriate questions to ask of our students. We don't believe that this concerns the state, and they completely opted out. And I think parents get caught in a little bit of a routine on that. The school says we want to give a survey, it's got some questionable things. You just kind of sign off on it and trust that it's not going to be what actually was handed down. So that was a big red flag for us is the questions that were contained in that survey.
And then again, what are they going to do with these questions? Because on top of it, it said they were going to use to make basically a curriculum. So they're, our students answering these questions in good faith. And if they are, I actually had a friend's son saying he just answered them as obnoxious as he could. And so also probably the parents that opted them out probably wouldn't have answered those questions. So we're basing a lot of these answers on kids that aren't
entirely being honest.
Yeah. Or an encompass of the whole demographics of,
Are we getting the big picture? Yeah. And if we are, how are we, like you said, how are we going to use that information? And it did say for creation of programs, well, who's going to be the recipient of those programs, and what are those programs going to look like when you are dealing with sexually explicit content, extremely sexually explicit content? I know we had parents that when I showed them the survey did not believe that those were questions that were actually given to our students. And even though I could show them on the state website where those questions were, they had trouble believing it because it was so explicit. So that, I think, comes down to that transparency piece again of what does the community know? What do parents know about these things?
I think what would be nice for the schools to do is have more of an opt-in. Opt in, and these are the questions, completely transparent of what we're going to be asking your kids. That's what I would think is a good solution. And then there's no, can you send me this? It's just sent, and we trust, then we can make a judgment.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say an opt-in would be a better way to handle that. Especially I've dealt with at-risk kids for a very, very long time, and I work with a lot of kids in foster care who have been through horrible atrocities, and exposing them to those types of questions, it's very traumatic. And there was really no room for that in the survey at all. No exception to kids who have been exposed to some really traumatic things.
And if you want a copy of the survey, we are more than happy to share it with you.